want to talk about how hard it is to hold back parts of yourself after TFMR. If you've ever felt like you have had to hold back parts of you after TFMR, you know the like stuck feeling in your throat, how it can even feel like headaches, pressure in your back, your stomach all in knots. Um, it's just awful to have to hold it all in. Um, and I know that there are even some pregnancy loss spaces that don't want us to mention the word abortion. Okay, it's a part of our story. It is TFMR. It's termination for medical reasons. Yes, we have our medical reasons, but we were also subjected to the shaming laws, or even if in our area we were able to get care, we know that other people in the community don't. And it still affects us. So I want to share what we don't do in the TFMR Grief Circle. We still have spaces open. I want to invite you to come and join us because it's so tiring to have to keep explaining yourself, to have to justify. Here in the circle, you do not have to justify your decision, your love, the diagnosis. You are welcome. Your whole story is welcome. I want to let you know four things we don't do in the circle. So we don't make certain topics off limits. Of course, we deal with these topics carefully, yes, very carefully. But if you want to talk about how TFMR is affecting parenting your other living kids, if you want to talk about how TFMR is now affecting trying to conceive again or being pregnant again, your whole story is welcome in the circle. TFMR touches every single corner of our lives, every single corner. And we speak from that place. When we speak from that place, we're able to share, the hardest parts of where this loss has changed and hurt and destroyed different things in our lives. Number two, another thing we don't do in the circle is we don't tiptoe around, like I was saying, the shamey politics that just inch and like just find their way into how we even see ourselves after TFMR. I remember needing to cross state lines and feeling like, am I a criminal? Am I a monster? Am I a horrible person? Am I doing something illegal? Why is it legal crossing this state line and not there? Even if we are able to have care somewhere else, but it still affects us, and you are allowed to rage against that, to feel anger about this oppression and the way that the world sees our loving choices. Number three, another thing we don't do in the circle, you will not be here, and I have it written. I'm going to read it exactly how I have it written. You will not be at leasted into oblivion in this circle. We will not at least your worries and grief and fears and despair away. No, those are the parts that have broken your heart into a million pieces. How it's affected everything in your life. And yes, I share tools and practices to help with the suffering around the grief, I like the way that Megan Devine she writes in "It's Okay That You're Not Okay." I like how she talks about like the pain of grief. Nothing can take the pain away, but the suffering. The suffering is the place that we can tend to. So yes, I give you tools for the places where you're suffering, but the healing comes from being seen right where you are. So no, at least. No, just no. That doesn't happen here. And number four, another thing we don't do in the circle, we don't stuff you into some linear or professional grief model and like, oh, if you're not here, if you're not there, then you're doing it wrong. No, there's no stuffing into any professionalism. Have to be a certain way. I know, like, professionalism and stuffy just flew away when I came head to head with how shitty and horrific this experience truly was, for all the different layers and all the different layers that, come with death, and then baby loss on top of that, and the stigma around that, and then it being TFMR and all the abortion stigma and everything. It's just horrifying, and horrifying to have to choose that for a baby, for a pregnancy that you love. It's the most horrifying thing that I have experienced, and I know a lot of you have told me the same thing. It's the worst thing that has ever happened to you in your life. So, professional, stuffy, buttoned up, no, no, I don't know her. That is not what's going on in our circles. The people who join this space, they're not just looking for TFMR specific support. They're looking for a place that can see and hold all the complexities, the intensity, the rage, the political obscenity, the how it's so loaded, how it just blasts your entire identity into 1,000 little pieces. And those are the places where you need to be seen without, the facilitator flinching or, oh, stay within the, don't talk about it that way. No. That is the way that we're talking about it, because that is the way that it is. That is how awful and horrible it is, and we treat it so gently. It's a soft place to land, but it's a soft place to land because it also is a place that holds your rage, and a place that holds the realness and the rawness of, the what the actual F has just happened. So I just sent this message out to all of you in an email, but I wanted to come here on video. I wanted you to see my face, and I wanted you to hear me say these words, because they are so important. Every bit of your story is important, especially the tough bits, especially those parts, especially the parts where, you may have been like gently, nicely, like therapized away before in the past. We're not doing that here. We're sitting with the wholeness, the whole part, all the parts of your story, and how it's affecting your whole entire life, because it does. So if you would like to join us live, it really is a very, very special place that we create together in the Grief Circle. I've run dozens of circles before. A lot of you here in this Facebook group have joined the circles before. And a lot of you have written, wonderful things about how it changed and the whole way that you saw your loss and your motherhood and your love and really the whole world through being together with other TFMR parents who are also going through it and being able to not only talk about it but process it in different ways. We use like a little bit of art, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of just other ways of looking at it, because it's so big. It's just so big that you deserve all these different ways of having it held, and all of it, your whole entire story. So that's my message that I want to share with all of you today. I'm Sabrina, and I've also been through TFMR. And if you'd like to join us, if the way that I talk about, going through this horrendous and love-filled experience, if you like the way that I talk about it, this is the way that I facilitate the circles as well. You can get on a chat with me, so through the link, if you would like to. It says apply, but really it's just stating your interest in joining, and then you get a link to go to my calendar and actually meet with me like this, over video, over a safe connection on Zoom, and that's the way that we meet together in the circles as well. Off social media, outside of algorithms and all the different censoring that's happening, and they're doing that. They're doing that on purpose to keep us from healing, because when we don't heal, we are more easily controlled. And they want us weak and controlled, but that's the exact opposite of what we had to choose with TFMR. We chose what we had to choose for our babies, even if it meant going to the ends of the world to get this care. And that's the type of healing that you also deserve, in a place where you don't have to censor yourself. And of course, we deal with your entire story very gently and carefully, and in a way that the hardest places can be shared safely and at your own pace, your own time, in your way, and when you're ready, and when you feel like you've created that sense of safety for yourself. And you deserve to feel that after everything that you've been through. You so deserve to feel that in your heart and in your body again, and in your soul. So that's what we're here for, and I'll leave you with that.